Hello, can I have everyone here? So they say students should never stop learning, but with the right industry-academia collaboration, even teachers and CEOs can't escape homework. Let's welcome our panel on fostering industry-academia collaborations to build lifelong learning ecosystems and hear from our panelists on how this industry-academia partnership can keep learning alive, relevant, and exciting throughout our lives. May I please have Dr. Alok Kumar Singh, Dean, IIM Nagpur on the dais. Our next panelist is Ms. Anjali Bhatnagar, GM and CLO, Bank of India. Next we have Dr. Ravi Jain, Director IILM University, Gurgaon. Can I please have Mr. Sanjay Kumar, Group CHRO of Power Industries? May I please request Mr. Deepak Pant to come and moderate the session?
Hello everyone, how is it going? I think we are the ones to be blamed for keeping you in the room. Hopefully it's an interesting conversation and you'll enjoy it. Welcome Satan ma'am. I think the day has been very exciting and we have learned a lot about learning, collaboration. AI has been the buzzword. For me, the way I look at AI, I think AI is, while the crux of things now, it's a symptom. The conversation is, what AI is telling us is the way things are moving. Earlier there were people doing different kind of jobs. AI came in, made a lot of those jobs either redundant or significantly more important, depending upon which lens you see it from. I think learning also is one of those paradigms where you need to see whether it's an ongoing process which will add significant value or is it something which we do it because we have to do it. As the topic for us and what we are discussing is how can we, so I have been in the industry all along. I don't think anybody in academia will take me in purely from ability point of view, but we have eminent academicians as well as industry people here, and what we should talk about is how do we make industry academia partnership in the field of learning take it to a place where all of us get immense value out of it. So what I will try to do is talk about certain pointers and you guys maybe start pitching in with, I think we have enough people representing both part of the conversation. Just so where is the way?
The classes were prompted to the
Say yeah. But yes, that's how the world is changing. Yeah, so I think what I'll do is start with few of the conversation which anyway we were discussing earlier. So if you all see, there are a lot of such programs which anyway happen. There are a lot of executive education programs which across the board institutes keep on organizing. On the other side, from the industry also, there are enough people who attend these programs. But do we really derive the value we expect to derive out of it? And hence, the first question I want to put out for all of us was, what are the real challenges in fostering this relationship? Where do we see the gaps? Where do we see we both can come together and really take it to the desired level? So if you can maybe start with your thoughts on this. And
Yeah, sure. I think the first challenge and the most glaring one is the gap of pace at which the academia and the corporate world moves in general. The first thing the observation anyone would easily make is that the academia, in the academic world, the syllabus, that is the curriculum, is designed on an annual basis, and then tweaked. Maybe wherever there is a corporate advisory board, there is a tweaking there. However, the corporate world moves quarter on quarter, and it's at a neck breaking speed, and the performance is just that way. So this difference of speed or velocity, let me put it, that is the first challenge, I think, which is important.
Dr. Singh, from an academia side, how do you see those challenges as?
Right. So, good evening, everyone. Thanks to Subrat first for inviting me here and being a part of this panel. We are discussing something which is very important from both sides, because ऐसा होता है कि दोनों एक दूसरे को ना गलत ही समझते हैं एक तरीके से. इंडस्ट्री वालों को लगता है कि यार ये एकेडमिया अलग, as you said, right? And एकेडमिया वालों को लगता है कि when industry guys come, ये अपना ही कुछ गाना गाते रहते हैं. Now that's where actually I see the differences and the gap is, right? Wherein, in fact, when we look at designing, curating, and delivering the program, as you said, we look for a quarterly kind of a thing, right? And academia moves on annual things and all, right? Now the thing is, when you look at the crux of the executive program, probably the outcomes are also something which are long term, right? We also don't expect, and probably the industry should also not expect that whatever is being, in fact, the people are trained for, they'll start generating outcomes in just few weeks or months, right? In fact, in the earlier discussion, I was just listening, one of the expectation and becomes that, okay, this should come something which is short term, and probably we should be start getting the outcomes of the training program very quickly. What is more important for me, and that's where in fact I see the challenges, probably working on these programs together, wherein both sides of the table can sit together and probably see what is required. In fact, Sir was mentioning in our earlier panel, there has to be a eager for learning and learning to learn, right? So whether it is there in the participants or it's just merely meeting the targets of training programs and then just meeting up the numbers, and just to have that critical number in the training program, we are sending people for the training programs. So that's where probably I'll rest my thoughts, wherein collaborative approach, and when we sit together, we in fact look for people who are going for the programs, and then of course the content of the program. If you can do it jointly, if you can do it together, probably whatever our expectations is, that could be.
Thank you so much. I would like to add, as I represent Bank of India, it's a banking industry, I would like to say that there are gaps which are there. Why these gaps are there, and why we feel, because academia I find are very theory driven, too much into theory. Whereas what we want is that it should be based on case studies, it should be based on some live projects, and it should be closer to, the relevance should be always there. People should see merit in what they are. They have gone for a training program. They should always look up to it. And what we find is that it's, let's say, 5-day program. It's just a 5 days program. There's nothing like a pre-read. People should come, prepared for it. They should have some expectations from the program. And post-program also, there should be something for them to add value to what they have already learned. There should be continuity to that. That is one of the things I feel, which is there. And as a public sector banker, we always feel we build the nation. So we would like to have a very, that way, active, agile, resilient workforce, and people also who are not only
achievers, but they're thinkers also in their own way. So that's one of the things I have, and as discussion progresses, I think we should give some time to Dr. Ravi Jain also.
Thank you so much. This has been a debate for a long time about how relevant executive education is. For a reason, according to me, the whole process, if you look at the program designing, is happening among the top institutions as to how they can deliver design some exciting program without really involving the corporate guys into what is their requirement. Most of the times the program committees or design and the academic council which is designing the program say, okay, this is what the X institution is offering or Y institution is offering, or do the local benchmarking, global benchmarking and all. Design some off-the-shelf program and then they say, okay, kisko becha jaye. So it is more of a salesman's approach finding customers. Second approach that I see is more of a client vendor. Let's say institutions like SP Jain or MDI or some of the IIMs, they would go and talk to the corporate and say, okay, we partner on your training on certain segments, leadership, mid-level leadership or top-level leadership. We provide you these advanced management programs and stuff like that, which are more of a client, vendor relationship. We have not seen the model. Ideally, it should be more of a partnership and co-creation of value. Now, the problem, the perspective that you brought in, Anjali ji, okay, the outcome has to be decided. These are the training outcomes that we expect for our team at different levels, and which are the institutions that we can go and work with. Capability assessment and infrastructure and so on and so forth can be done, and then say, okay, let us co-create a program which is driven, outcome driven, and time, suitable to the time also. What is current, what is to be done, quarter on quarter or year on year or whatever. So I think co-creation is missing. See, if I give you the landscape, again we are looking at a very minuscule part of it. 4,000 business schools in this country, which is 1/3 of the global schools in the world. And we have, let's say, 335 or 350 odd PGDM institutions which are active, so to say, of which hardly 30-35 institutions at the top you will find doing some sort of a executive training or executive programs. Now you are talking about less than 1% of the overall institutions available. Such a unused capacity. Now can the corporate go on searching for institutions and say, hey, let us in my vicinity, in my area, I have these institutions, can I partner with them in terms of designing my programs and leverage on the faculty and the resources that the institution provide, and that would help us in scaling up and reaching also to the deeper engagement with the corporate, and a lot of other synergies will start showing up. Another aspect, we just highlighted about corporate not being very happy with the outcome. The problem lies they were another part of the creation. So I think one initiative, one baby step that we have taken at IIM is we are experimenting with this something called experiential learning lab, where problem statements are invited from not big corporations but the MSMEs and small little organizations within our district, and say, okay, can we solve the problem with you and our team coming together, and take that. And in that, can we figure out a training program or a mutual learning program? That's where the...
Yeah, very well said, sir. I think what I heard from all of you, and I think we should talk more about that. Actually, the gaps I see are a total misalignment of expectations. The industry expects something. I don't know if we vocalize it enough, but in our heads we have expectations. The academia has an understanding of those expectations basis what they believe versus what's being discussed enough. Two, I think the gap on the time taken to understand each other's needs. As sir rightly said, either it becomes a vendor-client relationship or just a way to just engage for some time and get something out. So how do we collaborate better? So I'll give you an example. Right, my industry, and we are a prominent industry in the eastern part of the country. There also happens to be a prominent B-school in eastern part of the country, and I'm not naming either of them. We had, recently I was invited as one of the top leaders in the organization to join one of these executive programs. And the program happened to be in digital marketing. I happened to lead a digital business in the company. So I asked for, with the group CHRO, I just requested that can you send me the program details. I read the program details. I think somebody who reports to me and somebody who reports to him and somebody who reports to him, maybe the fifth guy from me, actually knows about all of it, what was being taught in that 5-day on campus and year-long program about digital marketing. I think somewhere, if I look at it, I just told the CHRO, sir, I think it's wastage of my time to attend this program and your money to run this program. But how do we solve it? How do we collaborate better in creating programs which are future ready, which take into account the needs and strengths of both sides? So would you like to shed some light on that?
Sure. So I think before I do that, let me make a qualifying statement which got our academia friends. Maybe I started off on the wrong of the base. The difference in the base. We all have studied in an academic institution, so all the gratitude is there. And I have definitely myself been to the academic institutions, the premier ones, the other ones, in executive management programs, and we have been sending also in my present as well as apart industries as well as my previous companies. So that is one thing I would like to say. So there is definitely a value. Secondly, I think what Madam you said, so theoretical, so all theories ultimately have initially emanated from research, right? They have been basically inductive generalizations. So I think theory is also not something completely divorced from reality. So that is the second thing. So these were the qualifiers. Now I'll come to respond to your question. We have a very practical case, for example, in my present company, where we have designed a course with Wellinkers, one of the institutes I can use that. And it is an 8-month course where the curriculum has been designed largely by the APAR HR team as well as some other business leaders, along with the Wellinker team and the B school, as they call themselves. So they have had the faculty. It was taught in Wellinkers. It has had tremendous impact on people. The first batch which attended was the direct reports of all the HODs, and it has been such a great succession planning intervention for us, readying a talent pool which is future ready. Yes, we did ensure that more than 50% of the faculty would have had some industry experience as well. But we ensured some were puritanically academics also. So that's a different value to bring to the table. This is the one thing. Secondly, how we are trying to solve it is, besides having a corporate advisory board, which I am a part of also, of many universities, other than that, we have a faculty immersion program, wherein the faculty, the professors come in to our company and do a 6-month internship. And we have done it twice only till now, but after that when they go back to the institute, one is not only in terms of executive education, but also in terms of the kind of candidates we get are near ready-made, what they call candidates, because they understand the culture, they understand the work methods, processes, organization structure much better. So we have toyed with this. That is a very good thing. Not many faculty have been very keen to come over, I must say. But that is another thing which comes to my mind. Apart from this, I think a lot of programs are modular in the sense that certifications rather than very long term to address this, that because the problems keep changing at a fast pace, technology keeps changing, so I think that is the other thing. So we look at it more as an applied learning hub, and I think the institutes should be seen as the R&D and skilling partner in the industry and not merely a vendor or somebody who provides training programs. Besides that, on our learning management system, we have hosted courses which have been designed by academia, and they have also done very well. I think plus we have a portal which is online mentoring portal. Intercell is the company which we are using. It is used extensively by people, and there are many academic, there are many professors also there besides industry specialists. So all this kind of interaction really works well, and things are far better than when I started working. Then there was a huge gap, but today I think the institutes are pretty close to the corporate world. Thank you.
Right. Sir, I'll just add to it. In fact, what we do at IIM Nagpur, in fact, I'm happy to share that in just 3.5 years, IIM Nagpur is among the top 7 IIMs in terms of executive education. And something which we have started doing, and what you have rightly said, is collaborating and then co-creating the program. And then of course making it slightly, in fact, longer in terms of the duration, and wherein the interaction is more. So usually we have something like 5 days program, and then go for an action learning project, which is something which is useful for the companies as well, and then try to incorporate things what we have learned in during the program, and then try to see whether it is actually happening or not. And then another set of 5 days, wherein 2 days we actually devote for their presentations and how actually they have looked at the problem, how they have approached it, what the way actually they have gone through in fact solving that. But let me give you a very interesting in fact incident, and one of the program we did that, I'll not name the company. So we had almost 12 days program, 2 weeks program at a stretch. And in their first one, first set of batch, they didn't even given them Sunday as a off. So they said they are in campus, so the training should continue. Which we said in the next batch, we said no, at least give them a 1 day break. Now, what the company asked for is keep it a mix of operations, analytics, finance. Then of course leadership and team building, and something on strategies and all that. Right? This is how the program was designed, delivered, and then they went for their action learning projects. And then in 15 days they have to give them the topic. The participants have to give the topic on what they are actually doing their project or action learning project. Now I was the program director as well, and then I'm part of the operations area as well. You'll be surprised, out of 32 participants, 26 were doing projects in operations. And only 6 were somehow relatedly, in fact they were also doing projects which are more what they actually were doing on a daily basis. And they just kept on doing the same thing as their project. Then I conducted a meeting with them, and I said, essentially the program was designed for something which is higher than this, right? You have to go through that leadership thing, look at something interesting problem where you can solve something on leadership or team building or something like that. But essentially what was happening, that as and when they were going back to their job, they are still on matrices. So it is easy, in fact, that's where I was just asking them and telling them most of the time, and I'm not envy for it, but then in most of the training program, I think people like Subrat are appreciated, where they just keep on working on leadership, team and all that. And all those aspects are really appreciated, and are in fact, if you just ask which session you were just amazed of, so they will always keep something which is on team building or leadership or something. But when they go back to their organization, they will be always looking at matrices. आज का production पूरा हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, right? आपके numbers, financial number पूरे हो गए कि नहीं हो गए? And then probably very few of them actually talked about leadership, team building, and all those things which actually they have appreciated during the training. वो back to square one हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि उनके जो training है, उनके जो requirement है, वो सब numbers पे आ जाते हैं. So that's where we see, कितना भी आप सीख के जाओ, वो finally वो, and that happened for another program. Same thing happened. The models were also on all this strategy, leadership, design thinking, everything. But finally the projects were on how I will improve the productivity of my department by 10%. Now, this is how actually it was happening, right? Now, when you say how actually this gap could be, in fact, bridged, one is, I'll say, a better planning. एक हमारे पिछले ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जो समर प्लान होता था वो विंटर्स मतलब बनता था, बनना चाहिए विंटर में एंड देन एप्लीकेशन होना चाहिए समर में. तो एक्चुअली स्टार्ट होता था समर में और इम्प्लीमेंट होना शुरू होता था विंटर्स में. So it was more like a geyser which I had at some point of time. वो गर्मियों में गर्म पानी देता था और सर्दियों में ठंडा पानी देता था. It was something like this. So how you actually plan your training calendar? Organizations have to think कि अगले साल मुझे क्या requirement होनी चाहिए और उसकी planning इस साल हो जानी चाहिए. Actually जब year start होता है then actually we look for कि क्या हमें training. And that same goes for the resources as well. जब हमारे पास training programs आते हैं तो we also look at them what all key resources we need और फिर वो we have to just connect the dots and look at how we can deliver something which is expected. So probably one is planning and then the second one is the mix of people who are going. We always look for a critical number. किसी से बात करोगे तो कहेगा कि 30 आदमी भेज दीजिए, 25 आदमी भेज दीजिए. And the other side will say, can you do the program with 10 or 50? और दोनों में फिर the only thing जो inherent current है, शायद मैं बोल देता हूँ यहाँ पे वो है पैसा. दोनों अपनी तरफ से कहते हैं कि यार पैसा इसमें कम ले लो, 15 का करा दो. हम ये बोलते हैं 30 कर दो तो इसी पैसे में हम करा दो. That's the thing, right? How actually you are going to bridge this, right? कि 10 लोगों में ट्रेनिंग करा देते हैं और हमारे लिए वो feasible नहीं होता फाइनेंशियली शायद और हम नहीं करा पाते हैं. But that's where probably we have to see how we can bridge those things, how we can create that mix and how we can plan it.
I think, I'll just add to what Alok suggested, this whole approach is the problem. When you say how academia and industry come together in creating a long-term learning ecosystem and so on, this ecosystem can be created only when both of them come together as partners rather than this whole client vendor relationship. That's where the argument starts from there. Kitne log, kitna paisa, kya, all that. So it starts with the menu card. Right? That doesn't work, and we can keep on discussing about this till the cows come home. There is no end to it. I think the choice of pedagogy about Sanjay talked about, and then methods and models and all. The idea is simple. If academia can proactively approach corporate and corporate look at academia proactively as partners than clients or vendors, that will help us. Second, choice of pedagogy, again, this argument, this out of the term doesn't align well with the topic of the day, but then the point came together, so I just want to contribute my 2 cents there. This whole practitioners leading the class versus academic leading the class. See, practitioners, we have had a lot of experience of getting them into the classroom. Storytelling works thus far, not beyond that. So it is not this versus that. Your frameworks are required. Frameworks also are distilled knowledge, or in fact, in the predictive, as you said, are from observations of thousands and thousands of observations. They put together some framework or philosophy. So you need philosophy for a concept, and then the framework to it, and then the execution roadmap or something like that. So all three are important. So as Alok suggested, the mix of who is going to lead the program in delivering what is the expected outcome, I think that makes the difference. So the moment the corporate see that value, getting unlocked, they would be more proactive. Having said that, with corporate also the challenge is because they are chasing numbers and market and ROI and everything, they don't put together what is their training requirement or this whole manpower planning and their training requirement for the next quarter or next year or whatever, and then approach the academy partners, right? So either you have an internal training center that is also based on cost. We have 2 lakhs of manpower, and then every year our expectation is to send 10% of the people for at least 15 days of training. So this would be our cost. So इससे अच्छा हम खुद का training center लगा देते हैं, right? Now, can't you approach an academy and say, okay, can you be our training partner or delivery partner or a partner in co-creation of value for both of us? That not only helps the executive education, but it rubs on to the classroom quality for the graduates also, for the other programs also. I think I rest my comments here on this. Thank you.
I would like to add, Deepak, here that as a bank, what we are doing is that we are partnering with certain IIM only for certain level of education, executive development. So what we find that earlier they had given us a set program, but when we reviewed it, from our side also we reviewed it, and we could make some changes there like art of negotiation, this, that, few things were added. So it became little more better than what it was, and certain people like leaders, our senior ranking officials, they are themselves, that way very good communicators. When they come for that program, they are really, they always look forward to it. I mean, participants, they like the idea that certain leaders, they come and they take 1 or 2 sessions, and we could find that those sessions were very highly rated because they could connect with them. Whereas all these storytelling, case study, this, that, it lands to a certain level, but then it doesn't go beyond that. So with our own leaders coming, I mean, my colleagues coming, I find some of them are very effective communicators, and so they do the job much better than anybody else. And that kind of a mix we are going ahead with, and we'll be continuing with that. And I would like to tell you, recently we launched we have a training center in MBI Belapur, that's in CBD Belapur. So we converted it into APEX, Academy for Professional Excellence. And first program that we had, it was for the middle management, all performing branch heads. So when they came and there was a class, all on the aspects of management and leadership, this, that going on. So one was kept on popular demand on credit only. So the GM who had come, the way he came across, because now most of the branch heads, they are not directly dealing with the credit. They could find that there are certain gaps, the knowledge gaps are there. And I could feel immediately that they need another training based on credit, and they also readily agreed. So this is the kind of learning, and we should be very that way concerned about them, or how the course is going, whether it is being relevant, received well or not, and how they are going to ultimately practice. So when in the previous batch, when it was said that one of the panelists said that if the people are happy at the end of it, then the program is served well. That's what I also feel. They were pretty happy, content, and that they were also happy because it was the inaugural program, so they were part of that. But otherwise also I feel some people have that knack, from within the industry also, of communicating and communicating effectively.
Very well said, ma'am. I think that's where we should all build a bit more. I think why you thought the program worked well, and just correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think the intervention from your side on is the program tailor-made for my needs, and hence can I make those relevant changes to do the participants find it relevant for them. The other part I think which I picked up, and Ravi sir, I would want to come to you on that now. Next is the participation of their leaders, internal, who I look up to. When I'm learning from them, there's also a very strong level of credibility and relatability coming in. So all of a sudden I'm invested in the program because I find it useful. I see learning coming from people I already look up to, and the rest of the program, all of a sudden I want to know more. So is there a framework to it, or does it just happen because ma'am decided to get into it? Or if not, how can we create a framework around it? Ravi, if you could maybe tell on that.
I think most of the times it is happening because by chance, madam wanted to come in or sir wanted to come in. I think if we can make it more institutionalized, more, core part of the process itself, then I think the impact will be higher. Again, another point I want to pick up is this whole feeling versus impact. Again, Alok highlighted many a times the sessions. Again, I go back to Subrat because Subrat's sessions are so, kind of feel good. At the end of it, these are really, In that room you enjoy. When you come out of the room, you are like, yeah, it's like watching a nice movie, action-packed movie. You are part of the whole action. When you come out and then go to the reality, you go back to the same ROI. कि भाई मेरा sales target कहाँ तक पहुँचा, right? So
he said the last rat race is mine only. I must give that disclaimer.
So the idea is when we connect the whole design to the expected outcome coming from the corporate, from the senior, I think that makes the program more impactful, and that will, with obviously feel good or I felt very happy being part of a class led by Varun or led by Professor Sahai. Less impact, that works, and that also strengthens the conviction of building those partnerships in the long run. Again, this should not be individual specific, but it can be put designed into the structure itself. That is in the long run. So it helps in creating that so-called ecosystem, which will kind of feed itself.
Perfect, Dr.
Right, so I'll add on to what Ravi sir had said. When we are looking at designing of the program, probably what we should be, as an industry, probably they should be also looking at whether they will be actually applying this in maybe recent time or maybe in times to come. For example, ma'am was talking about conflict management, negotiations. These are some of the very interesting sessions which goes that how actually you would be managing conflict, how you would be going for negotiations. But are they really exposed to negotiations? Are your people are actually going and do some kind of a conflict management, right? Though they would be doing at homes, that's for sure, right? But then whether they are doing it in their business context as well, right? And they would be actually using those things, probably you said frameworks, right? If something has been discussed in the, ma'am was saying very theory driven, right? And somebody would be talking about this is how you have to behave or probably go and then start your negotiation. This is how you should be waiting, you should pause and then look for what somebody is saying. When it comes to actual, in fact, things, people forget all those things. This is what my experience again. It becomes very difficult to actually remember that what I have learned at IIM Nagpur and then I'll be implementing that in the next negotiation which I am going to have with my client or something. That's very difficult. But then if it is possible, then nothing better than that. We need to look at whatever things we are actually exposing our employees to. Are they actually going to, in fact, use that or probably exercise all those learnings into maybe recent or maybe in short term or something like that. So that's where I feel wherein the mix of the people who are coming for the program, the content of the program, and that's where again I think we are just coming back and then looking at how jointly we can make and for what actually for whom we are creating the program.
An example, Harvard, one of the most sought after executive education course is a course on negotiation. That course is led by a gentleman called Christopher Voss. तो वो पढ़ाने से पहले ना क्रिस्टोफर वॉस साहब हॉस्टेज नेगोशिएशन करते थे एफबीआई के लिए, जहाँ पे एक आदमी को 4 गनमैन ने पकड़ा हुआ है, वो ने गोली मार देंगे और वो जाके वहाँ नेगोशिएट करते हैं. तो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन व्हेन you learn the program content is extremely, as you said, there is something in it for me. The program content is something I want to attend, and when I am there, I am not there for 6 दिन के लिए मुझे भेजा है कंपनी ने, 6 दिन के बाद पार्टी करके आ जाऊँगा. So somewhere, I think that just changes the game paradigm. As rightly Ravi said at the start that you marketing भी होता है कि यार 5 दिन का कोर्स कराना है, तो हमने उसकी marketing कर दी. But if the course really had enough thought given into how is it impacting people who are joining and how is it impacting them, potentially we need to move towards that, and from both sides. Sanjay sir, for you touched upon your internal tools and technology systems which are enabling your learning journey at Apar significantly. If you could touch more on that and maybe talk, given the way technology is changing a lot of things, how are you doing it and are you seeing more changes in future?
Sure. But allow me to just pick up a thread from the conversation just now. And I think one of the interesting things is that any training program, and I think I need to experience Subrat's session sometime in my life. There's so many praises of that. So any training session is, or a learning session, is ultimately a beginning. It's a moment of realization, a learning. So classically the Kirkpatrick model of reaction, learning behavior result. So to expect that the person would come out and start changing the approach and the way of doing things, giving results differently is, I think, aspirational, unrealistic. So that certainly is. What the ways to solve for it is certainly, for example, like one of the companies which did it for Dale Carnegie for us a long time back, as well as some of the other, even you see the LMI courses which are there on productivity, as well as some of the institutes which work for us, they would have a success presentation at the end of the course where each participant would come and make a presentation to the management of the company, where the faculty would also be there of the institute. What they have learned, how they are going to apply. That's a beginning. And then after 3 months, once again there is a review. I think that is something important because the habit forms over a period of time by repetition. It doesn't just form because I had a great time in a training program. So that's one of the things I would like to say. The other thing, what you mentioned, or I think Dr. Anuj Singh mentioned, was that when you go for a training program, what did you like the most? I love the leadership courses. Whereas when you come out, emerge out of it, then they ask you for the results and the matrices. Now that's, even on leadership, there is a similar challenge. Because many people who have attended courses, they say, leadership में तो आप सिखाते हो बहुत अच्छी चीज है, all the good things stuff, delegate करो, get a guy smarter than you, she can do the job better than you, और actual में क्या होता है वो ठीक उल्टा होता है. You have to be shrewd, you have to be opportunistic, and that is how you grow. So that is the second dimension. I said it is not only leadership is good and the matrices are bad. On leadership also, this challenge is certainly there. Like the virtues of being truthful, whether they are really good or is it you have to be manipulative. So all that stuff is something which is the academic world and the corporate world. They can really work together to resolve over a period of time. And particularly as our country grows so fast. And so many geopolitical factors are there causing uncertainty. Now coming to the technology part, I think I spent a very long time on the first part. So anyway, I'll take a lesser time here. So I think what we have done is also a beginning out there. The learning management system has many courses hosted on it, like all the companies have today. But our courses are bite-sized learning courses there, and they are very interesting. And because of the span of attention being very low today for everyone, so they are really short and crisp, and with a takeaway at the end of each course and a test of course. So that's one. As far as AI is concerned, what we are doing is preparing more ourselves. So ChatGPT everybody uses at the lowest level of work. Even the junior most person is using ChatGPT, and they are doing a little higher level of work now. That's certainly a benefit, I would say. Only challenge there is we find AI, agentic or particularly generative AI does not have a persona of its own. It's a very vanilla kind of a thing and really takes away the individuality. So you have to really first write and then use. I think that's a better thing. That's what we are trying to tell people. Also your prompts have to be really good. So they cannot be just a prompt, a question like Google on Google. So these are some of the things. On Mentor, we are doing a good job of Intercell. I'm not branding the company here. That's an online mentoring platform, and it was introduced to us just because our brand celebrity is Sonu Sood. So he's an investor in that company. But it really brings together a large number of mentors from the industry, particularly across levels, and also from the academic world, and who we make a mix and match from our employee pool, and then they arrange which trainings they are going to do. one thing which we have just started, it's an ambitious project, we have not done much, is that we have been working on manpower planning. Because like all companies, you know, the manpower budget and the planning every time. Now how we are doing it every year, annually the business plan is there. From that is derived the skill sets which are required. Because today hiring is less for experience and profile and more for skills, which keep changing. You have to learn, relearn, unlearn, and upskill also. So that's one thing. What we are deriving the needs for that, the skills. On the other hand, what is the existing inventory, skill inventory that we have, and the match of it. And then as per long-term plan, we are doing 3 years and 5 years only under par, because beyond that now today we feel with Ukraine, Russia, Gaza, Israel, India, Pakistan as well for that matter, and with the tariff and other things. Anything beyond that is may not be realistic. So this part we have said, and the data is ready, AI is being applied to it, so we have yet to see the results. Thank you.
One last question for each of them, and a very one-line answer on that. So how, and it's largely on AI, how are you leveraging AI in the context of executive education the way you are?
Right. So I think recently someone, yes, that's quite difficult there, right?
Professor is speaking.
Right. I'll keep a comma, then, right?
I can't argue with the teenage from college.
That's the leverage I have. Right. Thank you. Right. So somebody was saying, in fact, showing me a meme 2-3 days before, a group of CEOs, and the first question is, who are we CEOs? What do you want? AI. What AI does? Then no hand raised, right? But when do you want AI? Now. Now, that probably it syncs with what I feel or how actually the technology goes as of now. I am a person, probably I am more of a wait and watch kind of a thing, probably a balanced approach, and let's see how probably things will unfold, because all technology is a perpetual cost. We may not believe, but then it may have a cost implication, which I always look from an operations and analytics guy perspective. But what I'll also look at it, let's see how it goes, and then probably on a structured way keep on implementing AI for technical education.
Ma'am, how about you?
I feel AI is a friend and is they're going to be there in the future also. And if you permit, I would like to tell an instance also. Recently in this program only I was telling about branch heads. So there was an AI based, it was on MSME, but one particular scheme that this thing was done, and anybody can come ask questions as a branch head how you are supposed to deal with the customer. So the kind of responses from our bank side people were giving, it was analyzing based on the circulars and other things in place, and then it was assessing it and telling them that your reply could have been better, though it is fine, but it could have been better on these terms. So that was a huge learning everybody had there. So I think these kind of things should be tried, and we should make friends with it, and not take it as a foe that it will, take away so many other things and all that. So my learning is this only, that it's a
we started having AI in the classroom, but I subscribe fully to the idea which Professor Sai suggested. AI is more like a junk food for your brains if you don't. If you don't be careful. If you won't be careful, then there is a problem. It will make you obese. So balanced doses are required. We have to infuse AI in that. So what we did was in two areas. One is curriculum design and validation. It can give you some really critical. If you prompt, if you ask right questions, it will give you some really good insights, which can what otherwise would take weeks or months can give you at a stroke of a button, and then you will be more equipped to refine your programs. That's one area. Second is we are getting into the how do we improvise on the pedagogical, the whole classroom learning experience. So pedagogical aspects, we are trying to apply AI. And the next is evaluations. So most of the evaluations we are trying to use AI and your otherwise LMS platforms also now powered with AI, and to ensure that we make it more quicker, relevant, soon after the class. It takes off a lot of administrative stuff, efforts, which otherwise was occupying a lot of time to faculty. So I think these three areas we are giving a balanced doses and not going whole hog, and where it's not that we don't have a clue of when do we want AI, why do we want AI. We do want AI, but in a balanced doses. Once in a while to feel good, to have a McD burger, not every day.
Sir has already talked the perfect wrap of the day for me. An interesting thing, in the first half of the day I was at my daughter's school. She's in 7th grade now. It was a conversation with teachers and parents, and we had exactly the same conversation about what are you doing about AI in education. वो 8वीं के बच्चों के लिए था, ये executive education के लिए, but that's the reality of it. I think it's all pervasive. But thanks a lot. I think very interesting sessions. I think one thing we can definitely take out from it, and all of us, there's an immense need of coming to a common ground and making programs for outcomes versus making programs for the tick boxes. So I think that's where we are. Thanks a lot. Really thankful for a great session. I believe people are also enjoying it. Subrat, any words?
No. My words are after the
I wanted to close it now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pant, for conducting this amazing session. And thank you, panelists. We covered a wide range of topics. So a huge round of applause for them. And may I please request Ms. Shipra Chaudhary, founder of Pelroma Teas, to come on the dais and felicitate our panelists.
Compliment this sir, you are spreading a lot of aroma in the air. So, we are enjoying your tea.